We have 8 o'clock, so we know what time that means. That means it's time to start Zoom and Tell.
Okay,
So we're going to start. I'm going to mute everyone. And then, David, if you want to give us an update, that would be wonderful.
good.
All right, Julie. Well, thank you very much. We've got a nice crowd of Zoomers here tonight. Norman Woodson is going to lead tonight's program all the way from Houston, Texas. He's going to talk about salt and pepper shakers and enlighten us by showing us many wonderful examples from his collection. So, Norman, thank you for agreeing to do tonight's program, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Are we ready?
We are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Well, I'll just do a little presentation. In preparing this, it became quite clear to me that our glass collecting is really all over the map. We have a little bit of everything. And I counted the display cases. We have 14 display cases, as well as our tabletops and the shelves and everything else that are just covered with glass. Anyway, salt and peppers was a kind of a small version of what I could collect and put into a location so that I could collect more of it. And it led to a lot of different shakers. And I think what interests me the most about shakers is the real early ones, they really tried to find ways to keep the moisture out of the shaker. And I didn't provide any examples because I wanted to focus on Cambridge. But the shakers I collected were both patterns and etchings. The cost is kind of average cost. I found them a lot of times out in the fields and Round Top. I might find one, I might find two. They seem to be quite available. And I noticed in selling at Round Top that shakers are kind of picking up again, which is interesting to me. People were really looking for them this last show that I did. Colors seem to be the most desirable, but the hunt for rarities is always going to be there because there's some shakers you just don't find that often. A little history. Salt and pepper shakers had their beginnings with salt cellars. Early production began in the 1870s, with the earliest being patented in 1858. These shakers featured small holes in the lid for salt and larger holes in the lid for pepper. Mass production began in the 1920s with the introduction of what was called an anti-caking process, which was developed by, guess who? Morton Salt Company, which allowed the salt to flow freely when using a shaker. So it was no longer big granules, it was small. Mass production started with Goebel, a German manufacturer, in 1925, and this led to mass production of depression glass in the 30s and a less expensive product that people could afford during the Depression years. I had always heard that salt shakers were more expensive to produce, even with mass production, but always had to be produced to kind of complete a table setting, so to speak. Shakers today, as in the past, are made of many varied materials. You'll find them in wood, ceramic, glass, sterling, bamboo. Some hold up better than others, unfortunately, because of the effects of salt, which is corrosive. Any questions? Okay. If not, we'll go ahead and start on the presentation. This is Tally Ho. We particularly like this pattern. We started collecting stemware in it, and this is more of a pressed glass, and the stemware we collect is mostly blown. Here's an unusual rose point kind of a pattern. There, we put the line number if we had it available down at the bottom in the center. And these, I can tell you, we found these out in the fields in Round Top, and I looked at them and I was like, I've never seen that style before. But now I have to find them with Chantilly on them. Ready, I'm pushing, it's not going. Okay, Mount Vernon. We love Mount Vernon too. And I like the glass lids on these. Here's another example of a tall Mount Vernon. This seems to be a really nice pattern. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, my etchings, I didn't take a clear picture of it, but on the left is Diane. In the middle is Diane, and on the right is Apple Blossom. Here with Cleo on the left and Apple Blossom on the right. And I particularly like this little tiny set right here. The picture makes it look large, but it isn't. Number 1259. I got these from Max Miller. I never forget finding them. And what kind of gives them away is the keyhole handles on the little holder. This is number 3437, Diane. And I don't know why I threw the balls in right there. I didn't really have the line number for that one or the pattern number. But usually when I see these, they're in a Farber holder. And here's some Farber examples. Now I do have a question on these, and you knowledgeable Cambridge folks maybe could share with you. Did they make these styles particularly for Farber? Anybody know the answer to that one?
I would say yes, Norman. I believe they did.
Yeah, because I just don't see a lot without the Farber.
Right. I agree too.
These are number 3476, and I think I have a lot of examples of them, as you can tell, as well as combinations in colors on foot and the ball part of the shaker. This is number 3477, and many different examples, and they almost look like sugar shakers, like a miniature version of them. Anywhere from Diane to Wildflower to Gloria, Portia, Chantilly, Apple Blossom. Then here are more. And
Candlelight.
Julie pointed out earlier the candlelight, which I had forgotten. I have both the etched and the cut versions of that. And here are more. And these, you can see examples with different colored glass lids as well. And I like the sterling ones in the center of this one because the lids almost look very like Arabian Nights type look. Templar. Nautilus. And I found all three sets of these in the same location, believe it or not. Somebody had a collection. And if you look real closely at the cobalt blue one in the back, you can see the deterioration in the Farber holder. It's kind of got like an acidified effect on it, which is normally what happens here in the South to a lot of these Farber holders. And this is examples of Chantilly without Farber. And I have also seen what looks like Farber bases, but they were sterling as well. I don't see those very often. Here's Caprice. And here's Rose Point with sterling feet. Wallace. And this is just kind of an example to show you the different sizes. And these are really fun, that little egg-shaped shakers. And you can see we have Chantilly, Elaine, and Diane. And I'm sure I have Rose Point somewhere. The interesting part of this is I had a couple of Rose Point shakers, and they didn't have the optic that you see on the two shakers on the left and the right. And I'm sure that's probably part of the manufacturing process. Maybe they just decided to do them without. This is pristine with the small etch on the right and the large etch on the left. And then these are 3437, which are, you can see there's Diane on the left, Apple Blossom, Rose Point, and Portia. And they're relatively tall, a lot more elegant as well. And this is Cascade. And then I'm sorry, I had to take a picture of everything, but I have these with Gloria. They're light emerald footed, and I have both shakers on a tray along with the creamer and the sugar shaker. And this is number 391177, Diane. And then thank you, David, for figuring out that these are Cambridge. These were very interesting with their, it's not an optic, it's actually like a pressed pattern on the exterior. And that's it.
Well, thank you so much, Norm. I have a question for you.
Okay.
While we see a lot of patterns, they're also gold encrusted. Do we know of any patterns that had gold encrusted shakers, salt shakers?
I don't have any with gold encrusted. But it just seems logical, and it seems like I have seen them with gold encrusted. Gold encrusted doesn't hold as much appeal to me, so I probably don't have any examples in my collection.
Les or David or Jack, do you guys know, did any of the patterns come gold encrusted for the shakers?
Absolutely.
I can't
Absolutely.
honestly say that I've just
They-
never really
They
seen them,
came
I
gold
guess.
encrusted and gold trimmed or gold border.
Okay.
That's a very good question, though. Now you got me looking.
One thing-
That's the way
Gold on shakers though is not common.
No, I didn't think so. That's why I was kind of hedging my bet on it.
And because they're handled quite often with people using them, the gold would probably wear off very easily too.
That's a really good point. Are there any other questions? You have a beautiful collection, Norm. Beautiful collection.
Oh, that's the tip of the iceberg. You don't know. I'm sitting here looking at part of it.
I guess my other question is you mentioned um, I'm most interested. You talked about Chantilly and the Farber, and I know that they make the silver holders as well. But sometimes when I because I have Chantilly and I have the sterling and I also have the Farber. Is the pattern different for the shakers like they are when you have the inserts for the glasses? Is there a different, is it like more of a, like I know in the glasses there's the Duchess pattern and then there's the Farber pattern and it's different. It's a different look. Are they different on those shakers as well? Is there a little bit of difference between the sterling and the Farber?
I haven't really checked them that closely, but you raise a question because they also made a gold encrusted, almost Farber type. It's almost like it's overall etched.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have an example, but it's not salt and pepper. Um, but they also used it on Linux.
Yes, the
The same,
mosaic, the gold mosaic
exactly.
Farber.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I know the gold mosaic Farber sometimes is different than the regular Farber.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, in my mind's eye, I can't see both the Farber and the sterling and see them being exactly the same.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, Julie, I've got one. Norman, a real problem is these metal tops. So, uh, is there any way to remove the corrosion or repair the corrosion? And then tied in with that, there was a period there where we could buy plastic ones. They were advertised in the Cambridge Crystal Ball, and they they mimic those glass ones that you showed. So if you could comment a bit about those covers that end up being corroded, having corrosion.
I think it depends on how the metal tops are made. Some of them are made with like a chrome finish, which just literally peels off. Others are made with well, the sterling we know just it holds up pretty good. Glass holds up really well until you drop it. Um, if I have a metal lid that's corroded too much, I usually don't throw it away. I just leave it alone because I'm not using the shaker anyway, and I just like to have the original metal top with it. And I have tried to clean them before, but it usually doesn't work that well.
Okay,
Are
thank
there,
you. What about the plastic ones? Have you used any of
Plastic
those?
ones hold up okay, but they get a little crazed or cracking around the where it ties together with the glass. But the good thing about the plastic is it doesn't break the glass. Because if you tighten the other lids too tight, like the glass lids, for example, you run the chance of breaking it. And most people don't even think about it because they're not glass collectors like us.
Back in the day when I was in the dealer business, I had a supply of those plastic lids. And I think there's still some tucked away back in the boxes. And as I recall, they came um, with a paper covering. So
Yeah,
just
I occasionally run upon a lot of lids out, when I'm hunting for glassware. And if I find lids by themselves or on nondescript shakers, I usually keep them and put them in a little container in my pantry. So I do have replacement lids if something breaks.
yeah, so that's good.
are there any other questions before we move on to our sh show and tell portion or Zoom and tell portion for Norm?
I have a question, Norm, is regarding the caps again. Were was Cambridge selling or marketing shakers with all three types of lids, say the sterling plated, the chrome plated, the plastic at the same time? Were glass lids, or did they start out making glass lids and then later went to the different ones, or what? Do you know that? What's the story on that?
I do not. I did not get into that kind of detail on them, but I think that's a good question. Probably the non-sterling lids were not necessarily provided to Cambridge. I would think that probably the glass and plastic were. They probably moved to plastic when it was because it was less expensive product, but I don't know the real answers to those questions about lids. And I'd even wonder, did Cambridge make the lids? You know, like the glass lids, for example. It would seem like they would.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Jack.
Are there any other questions before we move on? If not, I want to thank you so much, Norm. That was so informative. And it's always great to just see the different types of glassware. Again, the last picture you showed just really shows, those are pressed. You had etched, you had a variety of different types of shakers, but I think we forget of how many shapes of shakers that Cambridge made as well. And even looking at those more elegant ones that you said had kind of like the dome top, I thought, I wonder if those are original. So now I'm
Good
gonna have to,
question. I don't know if they are either, but I found them both with it. So that was
yeah,
kind
I'm
of a
gonna have to look
coincidence.
now and start paying a little more attention to my shakers, I guess. But it's
One
fabulous.
example I want to share, when I was talking about the different things that companies did to try to seal out the humidity but keep the salt from getting
Yes.
corroded, sticking together at the end. I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but there is this one right here. So they would fill it. There's no holes in the top. They would fill the shaker, and then they would put this tubular piece, which had holes inside of it, inside, screw it together, and then you'd shake it, and the salt would come through that way. So it was not exposed when you had it sitting on the table to any humidity. That
Oh.
a lot of companies came up with different things that were like they had a contraption for turning it at the top, which actually broke up the salt within and
Hmm.
kept it from, sticking together within. But I never saw any examples like that in the Cambridge grouping. It was mostly older glass companies, probably pre-1920s.
Okay. That's a very interesting device. It just has four holes, or is there multiple holes?
It has multiple holes.
Pretty close to the camera.
It looks like a bullet, a giant bullet.
Yes.
And
Pretty close to the camera.
oh, sorry, where he said put it close to the camera. And you can see the holes right here.
Okay.
And then just the bottom is literally open. And then this glass holder, you would just flip it over, fill it with salt, and then stick this within like that, and then screw it together. And because this part, the metal part is made from zinc, it didn't corrode, but it's
I
very
was
lightweight.
I was going to ask you what that metal was because, of course, I'm thinking about all the different types of metals that corrode. I found it interesting that it would be, you know, most of the cap is actually inside the shaker and be more exposed to salt. So, but as you said, the moisture's not there to create the
Right.
reaction.
Well, and it didn't corrode the inside. This piece, I just found it by itself, and I was like, wow, that's an interesting example of a salt shaker. And I did look it up in the book, and they did say it was pretty unusual and rare, but you know,
Now,
rare to me is when I don't find them very often.
so did a pepper come like that as well, or just the salt and the pepper had the holes in the top?
I only found the one.
Okay.
And they just showed the one in the book. That was it.
Okay, I'm just curious. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's so appreciated sharing your collection. And obviously, as you said, it's just a small grouping of what you probably have.
It is. And
Yes. So thank you so much.
you're welcome.
And if anyone wants to share glass, if you could please put a message to me in the chat box, that would be most appreciative. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to start with Gwinnell. And I'm going to put Jeff and Mary on deck, please.
Good evening, everyone. Well, of course, I have to start with Caprice. And I'm just going to do a mix set. I'm not going to put a lot of them out. But I've got the tray with the La Rosa, and then the blue with the Alpine, both with glass tops. And like I said, mix sets all the way around. Got the large round with the square bottom in Alpine, and then the blue with the black base. And in comparison, there's the small one, also an Alpine. And then the odd ones got the little individual, the triangular shape with the plastic lid. Excuse me. And then there's the round one with the metal top on it. And I believe this is just an experimental or from another company. It's not quite right for the triangle. It's kind of hard to tell when they're up close together, but it's slightly different. It doesn't have a pattern on the bottom where this one does. You can see the pattern on it. And the bottom is just plain. It's just a slightly different color, but you see that in the Cambridge things too. I believe this one was done as a private mold or for a private industry. But that's it for the Caprice.
Well, thank you. That one that's the blue with the black, that's a very unusual piece.
Yeah, it's very unusual.
Huh.
The base fits just about all of the others, so.
Okay.
Is there some chance that one's a marriage though, Glenelle?
I've seen several of them like that. I received a pair that actually they arrived broken. Um, and then I've got another pair, and I think it's missing in Nice book that there were a few of them made. I'm thinking it may have been toward the later years, just trying to get production in and make something different, trying to pick up sales. I don't know.
Very interesting. I never in a million years would I've thought of black with moonlight. So
Yeah.
I was just kind of
I've seen it with
surprised.
crystal and I've seen it with the moonlight. So it could be
Okay.
a marriage. It could have been somebody put it together that way.
Okay. Very
But
interesting. Well, thank you so much for sharing. It's always a pleasure. Next,
you're
we'll go to
welcome.
Jeff and Mary, and we'll put Bill Carlson on deck, please.
Well, we've seen these already tonight, but I'll show them anyway. This is the tally hole, red with the Carmen with the this has the glass top on it. But I was looking for these today because I like to get the red ones out at Christmas time. And then this is one of my favorite shapes. I really like the 3400 and the Carmen, and then in the blue. And those have the glass lids. We do have a pair of the candlelight, and I just love these. But this one does, they have plastic lids. And then the last one, we don't have a lot of shakers. The last one we had, I didn't realize this was, oops, Alexa's popping up here. Okay, I don't know why Alexa's popping up, but this is number, I think it's a number 398.
Hold it a little. Yeah, there you go.
We have a pair of these, and I can't find they got separated. One of them is marked on the bottom with I think it had a patent, it had patented, I think there was a patent number on it. But they're so small, I never knew who did them. And then I found it in the catalog and it looks like, oop, there. Where am I? Showing up here.
There you go.
Okay. But real short. I've got a green one that's a little bit different, but very short too. But I don't think that one's Cambridge. That's it.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm surprised you don't have red and green. You always tell us that you decorate in red and green and you don't have a green shaker to go with the red shaker.
I don't.
Well,
We don't have. We did have a pair of lighter green ones, and they were sick, so they're put away.
They're put
So.
away. No, we understand. A lot of times they just get so clouded with the salt in them. So, well, thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
Next, we're going to go to Bill, and then we're going to go to Freeman and Jeannie.
Okay, I've only got a couple, and let me know if you can see this okay. This is the Queen salt and pepper set with tray in turquoise, and kind of relative to the discussion before with the metal lids. I don't know if you can see it on the back side. The metal lid on this one is really in bad shape. Probably was the salt, but it's a neat set. Then the only other set I have is the 3900 1177 optic plastic lid with a sticker on each. And that's all that I've got.
Well, thank you. I like the Queen set. It's really a beautiful set.
Yeah, I searched hard to get that. As I've mentioned before, my great-grandfather worked at the factory from 1902 to 1910, and I've been trying lately to get the old things that might have been made when he was there. And this is about as old as I could get.
Oh, well, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing. Next, we're going to move to Freeman and Jeannie, and we'll put Les on deck, please.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Well, of course, it wouldn't be Freeman unless he showed Mount Vernon. So you've got the Carmen. The royal blue is the one that has the metal lid on it. The others have crystal lids. The front row, you've got crystal, amber, and gold crystal. So the gold crystal doesn't show up that well. And then you've got the tall ones, the milk glass. It's interesting. Let's see if I can do that. Well, I'll move it. This little guy has a glass lid, but it's domed as opposed to the other ones, which are flat. So that was an interesting little set. And then, of course, the other Mount Vernon. So you want to move those three out of the way. And then if we go back in time, we have the inverted feather. And, oh, yep, staying with the Mount Vernon Farber, two sizes. And then I'll wrap up with two more pieces that answer discussion from earlier. There's the red well, it's not Mount Vernon, but it's a red Farber in the gold holder. So there's some question about, did that exist? Yes. And then the other question about something existing. There's my gold encrusted rose point shaker. And that's all we have to share tonight here.
Well, thank you, Freeman. On that gold Farber, is that the mosaic-y pattern that's on the Farber holder? You know how it's kind of, what do I want to say about the mosaic? It kind of has a design in the Farber. Or is it just, like smooth?
I would, the metal is, smooth and shiny and all of that. Whereas this one, I would say, yes, it is a little rough. There is a pattern in it.
Okay. Yeah, that looks kind of like the mosaic. I call it mosaic. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Beautiful. And it's got the gold top as well. Very nice.
Yep. And so we just wanted to have a sampling here.
Well, thank you. It's very much appreciative. And I like the colors of the cobalt and the carmine and the emerald. They just really stand out the way you have them displayed tonight. So thank you so much.
Okay. Well, wasn't sure what Brady was or Norman was going to show, so a little duplication, but hey, it's Texas. We share.
That's right. Thank you. So next we
Thank
have
you.
Les. Oh, go ahead. All right, moving forward, we have Les, and we'll put Lyle on deck, please.
Well, I don't collect much in the way of utilitarian stuff. I have more center piece type pieces in my collection, but I have a couple here. The only salt and pepper shakers I have, and it's a repeat of the one that Bill showed. It's turquoise. Queen was the name of the pattern. And it does go way back to the beginning. I did a little checking earlier today, and Cambridge opened in 1902, and this appeared in the first catalog in 1903. And turquoise was mentioned then, but there was no mention of turquoise after 1905. So probably 1903 to 1905. So this is a little ahead of the big rush explosion of salt and pepper shakers that Norman spoke about. These caps are in a pretty good condition. They're a little darker in tone. The discussion earlier, my guess would be it would be much like the prisms for the Beaubachets that I would be surprised if Cambridge made, especially metal pieces, and perhaps even the glass ones that they probably were purchased from somewhere else. And also probably with these caps, they're probably pretty interchangeable among manufacturers. So, you will see these with caps that are different heights and somewhat different shapes. The other one I have, and actually Norman showed the salt and pepper shaker, but this one has the holder with it. Crown Tuscan in the Nautilus pattern is really hard to find. So I like Crown Tuscan Nautilus. And so these salt and peppers really complemented the Nautilus collection very nicely. These caps are like new, so I don't know why, if these are replacement caps or if they just have always been protected and weren't exposed to any moisture, but they're extremely shiny and essentially perfect. So that's all I have, Julie.
Well, that's a wonderful example. That holder is just gorgeous. So very, very lovely. I do want to go back to Norm. You showed a picture that had the salt, the sugar, the syrup. Do you know if that set comes that way? That was really cool how you had it presented. And it reminded me of seeing Les's beautiful holder in that picture that you had. Does that set come that way, or is it something you put together?
It's Gloria said. It came that way.
It came that way.
I bought it as a complete set.
Okay.
When I was buying off of eBay, it popped up around Christmas, and I bought it as a Christmas present to myself. So I was really interested in the sugar shaker more than anything
Mhm.
else as an example, but it came as one complete set. It's in mint condition. That all the pieces on it are beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. I was remiss in not asking you about that. It was a beautiful piece.
Well, and to the, a lot of times the way that the feet fit into the tray determines if it's original to the set. They fit in there perfectly.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering that. Oh, good. You're going to share it. Thank you.
And Norman, the sugar shakers are what are really collectible, correct? They
Yeah,
sell for way more than like salt and pepper shakers.
yeah, they're
Four, four tab. The
really.
other result is behind the picture.
Oh,
Yeah, you want to bring that back up, Brady, or I'm sorry,
Sure.
Norm,
Yep, you know.
Technical support.
in case there was another question about it.
Yeah, I have a small collection of sugar shakers, and David, that doesn't mean I want to do a presentation on them.
I was kind of surprised it wasn't included in the shaker section here.
Um, I asked the question,
The
and David asked if I would.
four leaf clover.
Yeah, I included
Here,
it
here,
in
and
this one
behind
because it was a
that.
set.
Sugar and salt and pepper. Cream, no, cream and sugar shaker. Yeah, cream. Sugar and oh,
Is it
okay.
showing on
Yeah,
the screen?
shaker. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
See
Lyle,
it?
you need to mute.
Yeah, I'm not trying to find him here, so I can mute you, Lyle, just for a second.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay, he must have muted.
Okay, is the Gloria showing?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So about how many ounces? I mean, we can see how high they are in comparison, but how much sugar would actually fit into a sugar shaker?
I
I'm
think
not very familiar with sugar shakers, to be
I
honest.
think it
And
was powdered sugar. I don't think it was regular sugar, but I could be wrong. I mean, it
I would
certainly could be
imagine
used for
powdered.
both. I question the fact that it was a creamer and a sugar shaker because I thought that the sugar shakers were meant for powdered sugar. Um, so that raises another question as to whether or not they did put regular sugar into the sugar shaker.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if the creamer isn't for syrup.
A
And
possibility,
I don't,
definitely.
that's a question. I mean, I've seen the syrups that have the drip top on it that are aluminum or not aluminum, but chrome.
Right.
I don't know, maybe
It,
this is a question for others as well, was this known to be, you're calling it a creamer, but was it known to be a syrup at all? Does anyone know?
the syrup is just a little bit taller, if I remember right. And the cream, it's actually Cambridge has it listed as a cream, and it's listed that way in some of the catalogs.
Oh, thank you, Gano. Guess I'm gonna have to get my catalogs out and start looking a little closer at some things.
That's probably why David didn't want me to bring it in there is because it would lead to, discussions about things that we shouldn't be discussing at this one.
It's it's about an 8 ounce. She was asking how big.
Yeah,
It's about an 8 ounce.
you have a regular shaker I can hold side by side with it in this
What
style.
kind of shaker? Oh,
Hold the one with the black, black foot.
Sometimes the
So
syrup
this
has
shows
a
you,
ring around the top of, or a ring just inside the 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 spout.
Oh, okay.
Where a lot of times the syrup is sold with a lid.
you think they
Hmm.
can see this?
I don't know. Can they
Can
see?
you see the examples that I'm showing?
Yes, it would be better if you could close out there we go. Perfect. Yeah, so it's quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
definitely bigger, like about 5 times bigger. But the fact I like them particularly because the glass lids are exactly the same style as the glass lids on the smaller version.
Mm-hmm.
And often there was a metal lid as well, or a sterling lid. I found them both ways, but I like the glass lids.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I just pulled
Next,
out Cambridge catalog and it says tall cream and sugar sifter. So does that help you, Norman?
sugar sifter.
Probably is powdered
Interesting.
sugar,
That would be powder.
It
Mm-hmm.
sounds like powdered sugar to me.
which came out, I checked on that, powdered sugar came out in the 1800s. So
Wow.
Mm. Well, thank you for checking on that, Les. I, now I'm really curious. Okay. I'll have to think a little bit about this one.
Right?
All right. All right. Thank you so much for indulging me. Okay, Lyle, you're up now. I appreciate your waiting. And next we'll go to Barbara on deck. So Lyle first, then Barbara on deck.
Alrighty, I was going to bring the golden crusted Rose Point 3011 sugar and salt and pepper set, but I decided against it because I thought everyone would have it. But I did bring one of the original Cambridge salt shakers. It's a Westmoreland Sterling spoon and salt cellar. This is what they had when I was still growing up in my grandmother's house, believe it or not. There was no such thing as a shaker. We had dips, and this is one in a little presentation box. I'm sure everyone has one somewhere tucked away, but that's the first shaker with a sterling top. And we've seen the holders in various sundry things. This one I've always thought had to be a caprice, but maybe it is a generic. I'm not certain of that. But it does hold a great number of the ball shaped jugs. Um, this one is a little green one, and I have a Firebird set, but I also sell collectors salt and pepper sets. And I see this particular head for a salt and pepper still coming out on new goods. So if you have one of this style and it's in real good shape, it's a possibility it's a repo or just happens to be from the same manufacturer. We found this to be an older pattern, which is a slightly different shape, a little fatter, and it was to break up lumps inside the ball as it fell through. It gave it some place to break apart before it fell through. This is a little greeny. It might not even be Cambridge. And then we have the upright ball. And this is a set of plastics that were available. I found them to be very handy because the ones I got didn't have any lid at all. So this was much better than nothing. And as long as you don't tighten them in there, you're in good shape. We had a set of the boiled egg on a square plinth salt and pepper shaker. It had rose point etching on it, but the bottom would bind when you tried to unscrew it. And they were notorious for chips around the lip, the thin part, both inside the boiled egg part and the socket that it went into. And I'm just looking at some of these massive bases that some of these screw together with and wondering how bad a shape are they, and is there they've got to be Cambridge pieces if they went with the very Cambridge designs that were on them. So anyway, that's my group, and next time maybe I'll show you the girls holding salt.
Okay, we'll take you up on that. I was really surprised you haven't cut a girl down to just put a salt shaker on top, but you know,
Don't give an old man ideas.
okay, okay. I'm sorry.
Thank
So thank you so much for sharing. It's always very lovely to see you, Lyle. Next, we're going to go on to Barbara, and then we'll put Jack on deck, please.
So what I have, I only have four altogether. Most of them have been discussed. I have the round one in Rose Point. Two little
Can you
ones.
hold it back just a little bit, Barbara? There we go.
Okay, they're Rose Point. And the other Rose Point I have is the ball also in Rose Point. But interestingly, maybe somebody can explain this to me. It's like a very light lavender. Is it the glass that changed like that, or is it made that way? Because when you hold it up to a clear one, it's very different in color. Can you see it?
Some purple.
Yeah, light purple. Is there a change to this one, or did it come that way?
It's called sun color.
It means
It
it
was
changed because of the sun.
sunshine, or yeah, sitting in a window.
Well, whoever had it originally, I'll just have to find them and yell at them. And then this was the first one I ever had, and this one is the same one. This is Chantilly with the sterling. I
There
have
you go. Just pull them back just a little bit, Barbara. That way you can see the bases.
okay.
Perfect.
This small. I have a lot of the Chantilly with the silver bases in various pieces. And then I only have four altogether. And the other one, of course, is the Farberware, since I collect the Farberware. And that's this one. And the cover is not great, so it's got to be the original cap. Because when you said sometimes they have a different cap, I polished it a little bit. Obviously, it's not going to polish, but it is dented and everything. It's an original. I have two of those. I actually have two sets of these. How I ever got two, I'll never know, but this is it. Those are the four I have.
Oh, well, thank you. And I can see your Farber in the background there. I'm sure they look beautiful all together as a set.
I've got it all over my house now. I started with one 2 years ago. I'm bankrupt. Okay.
You and the rest of us, Barbara, you and the rest of us. Thank you for sharing with us this evening. It's so appreciated. Okay, before we go to Jack, is there anyone else that has any glassware that they would like to show this evening?
I wanted to say something about the ball shakers in Rose Point that she showed.
Sure.
They come with a flat ground top, and then one that hasn't been ground that has a radius to the top. And they come in two sizes, and they're both done the same way. One's flat, that's been ground and polished, and the other one's got a cast rounded shape on the top. Also, the egg type salt and peppers that have the square base on them, they come both ways also. They come with a ground top and then a pointed top in glass.
This is the top on this one.
Yeah, that was a rounded top, I think. Is it polished on the top, or it's not flat, is it?
It's a little
Perfectly
bump.
flat?
It's got a little edge around here.
Yeah, right. And it's got a little radius to the top.
Right.
Right. They came both ways. They came with a radius top like you have, and they come with a polished ground flat top.
Oh, okay.
In both sizes. There's a smaller size and a large size.
This is obviously the small one because it's really very petite.
Okay.
Thank you. Learned something new.
Yes, thank you so much, Gary. Okay, and next we are moving on to Jack, please.
Okay, thank you, Julie. First one I want to show is an early one, and this is a near cut daisy. This is the arch foot pattern. And I'm really showing it incorrectly, but I wanted to make a point. When I bought this, this is the way it came with this little top insert pointing up. I just assumed, okay, that's the way it was. But then years later, I saw in an early trade journal advertisement for this piece that had it like this, with the little pointy thing actually down in. And it said in the trade journal advertisement that this was a Cambridge patented item. I've never seen the patent in our patent records, but they advertised it as that as a unique design, and I just wonder how it worked. Although listening to Brady, it probably, they had some chunky salt in there, and that broke it up as it came out the single hole, that way. So I assume that's probably how it works. So that was kind of interesting to hear about that. But anyway, so that was from this was produced probably between 1910 and the mid-teens, somewhere in there when that near-cut daisy pattern was made. Another one this is the 396 shaker, which is really similar to the 3400, one of those 3400 shakers that thing. And if I can put it up here, because has a really beautiful cutting. It's polished cutting. I've never been able to identify it at all, but maybe someday. But I thought it was really a pretty piece. So, next, I want to show some of the 3477s that have been showed. That's probably one of the most common shakers that Cambridge did. Of course, you got to get an Elaine one in here. And this has gold trim on the base. It's the only one of these I've ever seen. I have never seen a gold encrusted one. So if anybody has some extra one of those in inventory, you can send those my way. Because I think those are really hard to come by. And then the same 3477 shaker, this is cut Lucia. And these have the plastic tops as well. And then I have one more of those. This is cut Croesus. Kind of hard to see the cutting on these, but this is Croesus. And this has the glass top on it, I like those glass tops. So I don't know if these have ever been used or not because they just look brand new. So it's fortunate to find these. Also, I might just add on these cut ones, you may have heard me say this before, but it's probably worth re-mentioning again. When I was interviewing Elaine's dad, talking about, he worked as a cutter in the factory in the late 30s, I said, what's the hardest piece you had to cut? Anticipating he was going to come up with some, elaborate piece, that had all kinds of things. And he pointed to this, a salt shaker, as the hardest piece to cut. The reason being is because you're basically cutting blind. If you picture, you're sitting at the desk, the wheel's over here, and you've got to look through this to see your pattern that you're cutting. And sure enough, if you compare goblets and other pieces, relishes, they're really consistently the same. But you can compare cut shakers, and they're all over the place. So just a little interesting little side there. Going to talk about the people have been showing this. This is the 1471, and as Gary pointed out, this one. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so this one here is the Elaine one, and it has a very flat top. If you can see, that's been polished and just pushed down, or however they did that. And then this one, which is the same one, you notice this is cut Lucia, and it has a round top. Now you can see the little ring around the top where they would have flattened it right off, but they just didn't do it. I don't know. Somebody here may know what the story is on that, why they produced some both ways, if one was an earlier version or not. I don't know the answer to that, but they're cool shakers. And one of the things I thought was interesting, we have the egg shaker too in Elaine. I would have assumed that the bases were the same and that they were just interchangeable, but they're not. If you can see, the egg base is quite a bit smaller, maybe a quarter inch or so smaller than And they were produced at exactly the same time. I mean, they were introduced around 1940 and go into the early 50s. So you'd think they would just did the same base for both of them, but they didn't. So, and the next one is the Pristine 360, which has the Elaine on it too as well. And it's always fun to find pristine things with Elaine because they did not put Elaine on much pristine items. So this is one that they did. And then the last I wanted to show, and Brady, you were asking about this, the 1177 shaker. This is actually the 1177, which came out in the 1940 or 42, somewhere in there. And this one's cut King Edward, and it is non-optic. And as they did with so many things in the Cambridge during this time period, they just took the same blank and they made it optic and put it in the 3900 line in the late 40s. So it's the exact same blank. One is optic and one is not. But the non-optic one came first. That was introduced to around 1940s or so. And they did a lot. Both of them were very popular shakers. And this, again, this was the 3900 one that was etched Elaine. So, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jack. Much appreciated. And it's very interesting how you showed the two different shapes, but again, seeing that small difference in the bottom, the squares, I would have thought they would have been all the same, but
Yeah.
as you said, there's slight differences. So it always makes you kind of go, huh, why? You would
Well,
have thought
somebody
that,
suggested too that maybe Cambridge didn't make those bottoms, which I think is interesting. I'd never considered that, or the same thing with the tops, the glass tops. So don't know if they made those or not, or if anybody has any definitive information on that. I thought that was interesting because that's something I really never considered. Of course, the metal tops, we would assume that those came from someplace else, but I thought maybe they would make those glass tops, but maybe like the
yeah,
prisms they didn't. So
well, we never know. That's for sure. Is there anyone else that has any shakers to show tonight?
You could show a
did,
couple,
Julie.
Julie.
Oh,
Okay, Jeff, I see that you are with us again in video, so thank you.
Okay. I have this one here, etched in Elaine with the plastic lids. And also this one with the optic etched in Elaine. And that's the only two I have because they're so hard to come by. So
Well, now you're going to
that's,
have to look for some non-optic to go with the optic.
yeah, there's the only two sets I've ever found in the wild. I've never found another set in the wild.
Okay, well,
I don't know why. They got to be out there.
this is why you put your wish list out there when you're on Zoom and Tell.
There you
We
go.
we have a whole list of things that people need. So is there anyone else? Thank you so much, Jeff. And is there
Yeah.
anyone else that has any sets of shakers that they would like to show?
I have a couple, Julie.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Okay. Well, I had some repeats. I have a pair of the tally ho with the glass tops, which I like also very much for the holidays. And I have a 3400 set in royal blue, and I bought these because I like the top. I don't. It's more of a very grandiose cap on it. I think it's silver, although I've never really polished it up too much. But I think it is a little silver thing there. But yeah, much ado about something there. And I got a daffodil, and I have seen. I believe I've seen these gold encrusted maybe once, but not something you'd want a golden crust because you can't help but get your fingers all over the gold as you shake it from this very small, pristine shaker. And then I have this one, and I'd love to know if anybody has any ideas about what it is. I've looked in all the Cambridge books, and I can't see it in any of the Cambridge catalogs, even the very early ones. Um, it's a very soft blue. It's not as blue as the Queen set, which I have seen a pair of the Queen set in person, and that's quite a lovely blue. This is a very much softer blue. Um,
I think
anyway,
it's
I assume
either
it's another company like
it's early
McKee or something.
consolidated or Phoenix.
Okay.
I
I
think it's
think,
consolidated.
yeah,
Early.
It,
I
early.
think it's before Phoenix, and they got together.
how much?
I think it's consolidated.
Consolidated.
It's
Okay.
prior to 19. I think Phoenix took consolidated moles in the early 30s, so that would be pre 1930.
Okay.
Probably in the pattern glass book, um, but definitely in the salt shaker book. I've seen it before.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I think I have an example in red somewhere. Um, it's a very popular pattern back then.
okay. All right. Thank you. That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you. And thanks for helping identify there as well. So before we close out the Zoom and Tell portion, is there anyone else that has anything to share with us this evening?
Yeah, I might show you something that's different too. The 3400, can you see that?
Yes.
3400 line with the sterling lid on it. Okay, they came with a plain foot,
Okay,
and they
hold that
came
one
with it.
down just a little bit, Gary.
Is this one?
That,
This one?
yes, it's better when it's against your black shirt. It's kind of hard to see
Okay.
when it's higher.
It's plain foot. Doesn't have any etching on the foot.
Okay.
But they made them with the etching on the foot. Can you see that?
Yes.
So I didn't know that for a long time, but they had a Mets foot. But they come with glass lids or the plastic lids or etched without or with it. So it's kind of just.
Any others that you have to show us, Gary, or that's it for tonight?
Well, I've got a whole bunch, but everybody's had them already on, and so I
Okay.
took them all back in the other room, put them back in the case. I had a hard time
Okay.
lining them up again.
Okay. Well, thank you for showing this. I don't think anyone had mentioned an etched
Did
foot and a
did
non-etched
you
foot.
want to see the ones with the cut, like the eggs with the flat top?
I think we saw an example of that.
Okay. The eggs.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I
thank you for
can.
sharing, as always, Gary. It's always
Yeah,
appreciated.
yeah.
All right. Is there anyone else that has anything to share with us? If not, I'm going to turn this back over to David for now. And as always, we always are so happy to see everything that's in everyone's collections. So David, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Norman, for all your hard work.
Yeah.
And thank you to your assistant tonight that helped you put all this together. Both of you did a great job, and it's very informative. Even though we think about salt and pepper shakers as being very utilitarian, there are a lot of unique characteristics to those and things that to think about over the years, the different types of colors and two-tone shakers and different types of lids and bases. It's kind of interesting. While we're very blessed in this organization to have a lot of information at our fingertips online. So I know Les was looking in some books earlier, and while all these questions about glass lids and metal lids and plastic lids, I was able to scan through a couple of the Cambridge catalogs, and it appears that in the earlier years, the lids were metal. And then in the 30s and 30s, they interchanged a little bit with metal and glass. And by the time you got to the 40s catalog, it was also about 50% glass and 50% metal. So I don't know that we have an answer to any questions, but they seem to start out with metal and at some point introduce the glass lids. And my guess is toward the end of production, they were most likely metal and plastic. It's probably in that middle era when they were making the glass lids. So you can check through your catalogs and see what the images show up in those. But there's one great page in the 40s catalog with about 20 different salt shakers on it, and about 50% of them are glass and 50% of them are metal. Next month is a fun month. It's when everyone gets to come together and share their favorite finds of 2025. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to try to limit that to about 5 items per person. If you have just so many items, just try to pick out your favorite few and be ready to share those with us next month. So, Julie, that's all I've got this evening. And again, thank you for everyone for sharing their glass with us tonight.
Yes, thank you, David. As we know, it's our favorite month. So get your Christmas gifts back out because we'll hope you're going to share them with us in January. I know that, David might have hooked me up this last week or so, so I might have got a favorite piece last week. So it's always good to see what everyone finds throughout the year. And it's always so interesting. And I think being that we all collect different things, it's always so nice to see those special things that we find throughout the year. So with that, I would like to thank everyone again for really joining us all year. Every month we get together, we see a lot of the same people. We've had some new additions this year, which has been wonderful. It's so nice to gather and just see everyone and see how people are doing. And even when we just chit chat before, it's part of our Cambridge community, and it's an important part of my month. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do, and certainly I just enjoy learning. As you know, I ask a lot of questions, and I hope anytime you guys have a question, please feel free to ask. So, in closing, I just want to wish everyone the happiest of holidays. Please stay safe out there in this cold weather, and I look forward to seeing everyone in 2026.